Today's lesson is called Gift-Giving Customs Around the World. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and today we're going to continue talking about gift-giving customs around the world. Now, remember last time we started to talk about this topic, we mentioned the fact that in the Middle East and India, the left hand is considered unclean, so give and receive gifts with your right hand. We also talked about the fact that in some cultures, it's okay to open the gift right away, whereas in other cultures, it should be set aside and opened later.
There you go. We learned some of those customs for giving and also receiving gifts. And I think we kind of focused on the personal exchange of gifts on the first day there. On day 2 here, though, we're going to be talking about how to give business gifts, okay? There's a protocol for how to do this properly as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's start right now. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll start part 2 of our lesson on gift-giving customs.
Whether attending a meeting abroad or entertaining foreign business partners at home, you should be careful to follow each culture's gift-giving guidelines. Here are some tips to help you avoid making any embarrassing mistakes.
各位好，第一部分我们看到单字 guideline， 这个字是名词，指指导方针、准则，常用复数。例如 Please follow the guidelines when you write your report. 写报告时请遵照指导原则撰写。
All right, let's talk about the first paragraph in today's lesson. It begins by saying, whether attending a meeting abroad or entertaining foreign business partners at home, you should be careful to follow each culture's gift-giving guidelines. So here, this sentence begins with the word whether. So if we're talking about a range of different situations, you can use the word whether. You could also use the word if. So if you're attending a meeting overseas, or if you're entertaining foreign business partners back here in Taiwan, well, during both of these different situations, you should be careful to follow each culture's gift-giving guidelines. So you might be going abroad, you might be flying over to, say, Thailand or maybe Cambodia to attend a meeting. So, of course, you need to be careful to follow their gift-giving guidelines. Or if you have some clients coming into Taiwan for meetings, then you also need to follow their gift-giving guidelines as well. And those people probably need to know your guidelines as well. Again, it's a kind of dance of giving and receiving.
Now, are there actually rules written down somewhere on how to give and receive gifts? No. A lot of this is based on custom, so we need a better word than the word rule or law. And that's where this word guideline comes in. When we're talking about a guideline, we're talking about something that's kind of like a rule, but it's not really a totally prescribed rule, or it hasn't been written ahead of time. It hasn't been written down. It's not a law. It hasn't been specified, okay? A guideline is just telling you a suggested way to behave in a certain situation, okay? And customs will provide you guidelines on how to do things, like how to give gifts and to receive gifts as well. Anyways, we also have this verb entertain to talk about. Very often people talk about entertainment. Okay, you might want to go to a movie. That's a form of entertainment. You go there to be entertained, to feel good, to feel happy, so on and so forth. But you can also entertain guests. If you entertain guests, you act as a host to them. You might allow them to come into your home, and you might feed them and talk to them and chat with them and have a small get-together with them, so on and so forth. Or, let's say, you might go out on the town with them and entertain them in that way. You might go ahead and take them out to eat and take them to a club and stuff like that. Whatever it takes to make these people happy, that's what you're doing when you are entertaining people like this.
Yep, you're just being a good host for those foreign business partners. So, indeed, at some point during your hosting, you might want to give them gifts or receive gifts from them. So, of course, you need to follow some general rules. And here are some tips to help you avoid making any embarrassing mistakes. Embarrassing means it refers to something that causes embarrassment. Remember, Embarrassed is how you feel. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm wearing my shirt backwards today. And, of course, when I'm wearing my shirt backwards, it's very embarrassing. I feel embarrassed.
I feel embarrassed. How embarrassing. Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break. But don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Most experts around the world agree that gifts should be wrapped. However, how to do it correctly varies from culture to culture. In Asia, avoid white or black gift wrap since these colors are connected to mourning. Similarly, black and purple are associated with religious ceremonies in South America, and purple is considered unlucky by Italians.
第二部分，我们看到名词 ceremony 指仪式、典礼，像是Julie plans to have a small wedding ceremony in a local church when she gets married. Julie 打算在一间地方教会举办一场小型的结婚典礼。另外补充一个相关片语 without ceremony 意思是不拘礼节的。我们可以说 David handed his resignation this afternoon without ceremony. David 今天下午毫不客气地递交他的辞职书。
Okay, let's move on now to the next part of our lesson. Here are some gift-giving guidelines. Now, most experts around the world agree that gifts should be wrapped. Okay, so pretty much everywhere you go, if you're going to give someone a gift, you need to wrap it with wrapping paper. Okay, most experts around the world will agree that that is appropriate. However, how to do it correctly varies from culture to culture. So as you know, there are different ways to wrap a present, which involve whether or not you use different colored paper, whether you use bows, how you tape it, how big the wrapping is, whether the gift is inside a box, etc., etc. All of those things should be considered when you're wrapping those gifts.
So yes, do wrap, but also pay attention to how people wrap gifts in different parts of the world. Get this, in Asia, avoid white or black gift wrap since these colors are connected to mourning. Yes, people mourn when they're sad, okay? They mourn specifically when someone has died and they're sad because of that. That's usually what mourning is all about. M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. So yes, black and white are associated with mourning or connected to mourning. So stay away from these colors when you are wrapping gifts.
And as a note, morning here and morning, the time of day, are pronounced exactly the same, but they're spelled slightly differently. So please be aware of that. Similarly, black and purple are associated with religious ceremonies in South America, so I guess you should avoid those colors if you're down in, say, Chile or Argentina or something like that. And purple is considered unlucky by Italians. So if you're going to Italy and meeting somebody in Rome, if you're in Rome for a business meeting, avoid the color purple if you're giving gifts to Italians.
Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be wrapping up our article on gift-giving customs.
While flowers may seem like thoughtful gifts, they sometimes have negative connotations. In Japan, lotus blossoms, lilies, and camellias often appear at funerals, so avoid giving a Japanese person these flowers as gifts. Flowers also have hidden meanings in Russia. For example, yellow flowers indicate the end of a relationship, and all flowers must be given in odd numbers because even numbers are used for funerals. In Egypt, flowers are reserved for weddings, illnesses, and mourning, so you should refrain from giving them as casual gifts entirely. Remembering these and other gift-giving practices can help you build successful business relationships, which are essential to your professional life.
第三部分，我们看到单字 connotation 这个字是名词，指隐含意义。举例来说 We should avoid using words with negative connotation on the advertisements. 广告上要避免使用负面意涵的字词。接着我们看到一个名词 lotus 指莲花，例如 Some religious ceremonies would use lotus to decorate their hall. 有些宗教仪式会用莲花装饰会堂。再来，我们看到单字 camellia， 这个字是名词，意思是山茶花。举例来说 ，The report shows that camellia oil is good for human bodies. 那篇报道指出山茶油对人体有益。接着，我们看到一个形容词 hidden， 指隐藏的、不为人知的。例如 Linda's words always have a hidden meaning. Linda 讲话总是话中有话。另外补充一个相关名词 hidden gem， 指隐藏的美好事物。我们可以说 The library is one of the neighborhood's hidden gems. 这间图书馆是社区里隐藏的好去处之一。再来，我们看到片语 refrain from 加名词或动词 ing， 表示避免点点点，克制不做点点点。举例来说 The little girl refrained from tears after her mom's consolation. 在妈妈的安慰下，小女孩忍住不哭。再举一个例子 All passengers are expected to refrain from eating or drinking while riding the subway. 乘客搭乘地铁应避免饮食。另外补充一个相关片语 hold back， 表示抑制、阻碍、隐瞒。我们可以说You shouldn't let other people hold you back in life, and you should always go after your dreams. 你不该让别人阻碍你的人生，应该要去追逐自己的梦想。最后，我们看到单字 essential， 这个字是形容词，后面可以接 to 或是 for 加名词，指必要的、不可或缺的。举例来说 Water and sunlight are essential for plants to grow. 水和阳光对植物的生长是不可或缺的。
Okay, so when you're sending people gifts, of course, sometimes you might consider giving flowers. Okay, so that might make a nice gift. Of course, you might want to give your wife a dozen roses for Valentine's Day or something like that. She might appreciate that gift. So it says here, while flowers may seem like thoughtful gifts, they sometimes have negative connotations. So while here, even though flowers may seem like a considerate gift, a thoughtful gift, but they do have negative connotations in some places. Thoughtful just means considerate. You are thinking about the other person. You're sensitive to their feelings.
Anyways, sometimes flowers carry negative connotations. That means they might have a meaning that's implied. It's not out there and direct. It's implied, but it's still there. And a negative connotation is a bad connotation, so you're going to want to stay away from that. Anyways, let's think about some places, or let's read about some places where flowers and giving flowers might have a negative connotation. In Japan, for instance, lotus blossoms, lilies, and camellias often appear at funerals. So avoid giving a Japanese person these flowers as gifts. So before, in Asia, black and white wrapping paper, bad idea because these particular colors are associated with mourning. Well, apparently certain flowers in Japan, they kind of have the same meaning behind them, or they have this similar connotation, whereas the colors there in Asia, black and white, okay, might be associated with mourning. These flowers in Japan might be associated with funerals because they often appear at funerals. By the way, a funeral is a ceremony that you have for a person who has died. Usually during a funeral, there is a certain ritual or a ceremony, and then that body is either buried or cremated.
So it's not a good idea to give Japanese people these kinds of flowers because they do have a negative connotation. So avoid giving a Japanese person these flowers as gifts. Maybe you can give them roses or maybe tulips or something. You'll probably have to check first. And flowers also have hidden meanings in Russia. So if you're going to Moscow for a business meeting or something like that, remember that flowers there have hidden meanings that you don't see so clearly. That's what hidden means. You can't see them hidden. For example, yellow flowers indicate the end of a relationship. And all flowers must be given in odd numbers because even numbers are used for funerals. So I guess this means that you should avoid giving Russian people yellow flowers because that means you want to end your business relationship with them. Or if you want to break up with your girlfriend, you send her yellow flowers and she'll get the hint. She'll leave. But in this case, also, you need to remember that you need to be aware of the number of flowers you give someone. Odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That should be the number of flowers that you give someone. Don't give someone even numbers like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 because even-numbered flowers are used at funerals. That does not sound good, even though the Russians probably won't stop and count them. But still, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Anyways, in Egypt, okay, that's the next country we'll be talking about. In Egypt, flowers are reserved for weddings, illnesses, and mourning, so you should refrain from giving them as casual gifts entirely. So there you go. You think nothing in the West of giving a girl a rose if you like her. Well, in Egypt, okay, flowers have a very specific role that they play in certain events, okay? Flowers are reserved for weddings, illnesses, and mourning. And that's that. So you should refrain from giving them as casual gifts, okay? By the way, if you refrain from doing something, you don't do that thing, okay? You avoid doing that thing entirely.
Yep, you avoid giving them as casual gifts, or you refrain from giving them as casual gifts. Be careful, though. Refrain does need the preposition from, but avoid does not. Refrain from, avoid. So don't give them as gifts if you're in Egypt. They're reserved only for weddings, illnesses, and mourning. So remembering these and other gift-giving practices can help you build successful business relationships, which are essential to your professional life. So these are gift-giving practices. Practice in this particular case just refers to the customs and traditions associated with gift giving.
There you go. Now, we also have the final vocabulary word of the day in this particular sentence. Okay, we've got the word essential. If something is essential, it's extremely important. It's central to something, okay? It's a main idea behind something. It's something that you can't do without. It's critical. It's vital. I think you guys get the idea. You could say that water is an essential element in all life. Yes, everything on earth that is living needs water in order to live. If there was no water on earth, we would all die. All living things on earth would cease to be.
But we're going to keep on living, and you're going to keep on studying English. Right now, you're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分提到，世界各地大多数的专家都同意礼物应该要包装。下一句他说 However, how to do it correctly varies from culture to culture. 然而怎么包才正确则是因文化而异。同学们有找到这个句子的主词吗？它的主词是 how to do it correctly，然后它被视为单数，后面是搭配单数动词 varies。 好，那我们这边就来学习 WH 疑问词加补定词的用法。 WH 疑问词像 how, what, who, where, when 等等，后面可以接补定词，也就是 to 加原形动词来形成名词片语。那这个名词片语在句子里可以当主词、当受词或是当主词补语来用。那我们就来看3个例句。第一句Where to hold the art show is still not decided. 在哪里举办艺术展还没有定案。好，句子里面的这个名词片语 Where to hold the art show 是当主词用，它被视为单数，所以我们后面是搭配单数动词 is。 第二个例句 I don't know what to wear to the party. 我不知道该穿什么去派对。好，句子里面的名词片语What to wear to the party 它是受词，也就是用来当前面这个动词 know 的受词。第3个例句 The problem is how to convince them. 问题就在于要如何说服他们。那句子里面的名词片语 how to convince them 在这边它是当主词补语用，用来对主词 the problem 做补充说明，让这个句子变得完整。好，另外帮同学补充动词 vary 的用法。vary 当不及物动词，它表示不同或者是呈现差异，之后常常会接 from 名词 to 名词来表达从什么到什么都不同，因什么什么而异。那其中这个名词必须是单数，而且是一样名词，像是 table manners vary from culture to culture， 就是说餐桌礼仪因为文化而异，随着文化而不同。那还有一个意思差不多的动词是 differ， D-I-F-F-E-R， 它也可以表达相异不同，之后也可以接 from 名词 to 名词来表达因什么而异，像是Laws differ from country to country， 法律因为国家而异，随着不同国家而不同。好，那最后帮同学补充几个跟 vary 相关的单字，这些单字都包含有 var 这个字根， var 有时候是拼作 vari， 那它带有改变变化的语义，像 various various， 它就是由 vari 表示变化，然后加上形容词字尾 ous 组合而成。various 是形容各式各样的不同的，那把字尾 ous 改成名词字尾 ation， 就会得到名词 variation。variation 表示变化、变动或是变化形式。接着我们还可以在 vari 的后面加上 able， 这个字尾 able 它表示异于怎么样怎么样的，所以合在一起 variable 它就是形容易变的、多变的、反复无常的。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Entertain. Jed loves entertaining guests at his home, so he often hosts dinner parties. Guideline.To prevent conflicts of interest, public officials must follow strict guidelines when it comes to receiving gifts. Embarrassing. It may have been an embarrassing situation, but it was also quite funny. Ceremony. If the weather permits it, the graduation ceremony will be held outside. Thoughtful. It was very thoughtful of Maria to show me around her city and introduce me to her favorite spots. Funeral.The former president was well loved, and many people attended his funeral. Essential. Nothing can improve if it stays the same, which is why change is essential to progress.
Discussion Starter starts now!
All right, folks, now it's time for our discussion starter. Hey, Roger. If you accidentally broke an important gift-giving guideline, what would you do?
Well, first I would apologize profusely. I would say how sorry I am. And then I would say, well, you know, I just didn't have time to do my research ahead of time. I hope you can forgive me. Next time I will do better. How about you?
Well, I would immediately apologize, just like you, and based on where I was in the world, I would try to make amends immediately, okay? Then I would take some time, I would do some research, I would not only research the customs of the country I was in, but also the person I'm giving the gift to, and I would make sure that I would get the perfect gift and present the perfect gift to them again to make up for my mistake. Okay, everyone, with that, today's article is now complete, but as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.